Hello again, Pastor Michael Jarbo here. Welcome to another edition of Soul Care, conversations to help renew the spirit. I'm glad you're here. Check out today's episode. Okay, good morning and welcome to another edition of Soul Care, conversations to renew the spirit. I'm Michael Jarbo, and I have the pleasure of being on today with the one and only Brandi Monteverde. Brandi, thank you for being on Soul Care today. How are you?
I'm doing good. Very good.
People will notice that it does say Faith Ann in the corner of your name there. Who in the world is Faith Ann?
And that is my daughter going into first grade. And so she has been doing Zoom for all these online things. And I don't know how to change it. So everyone in my family is Faith Ann. And no, I'm not interested in knowing how to change it. I don't want to know. It's Faith Ann.
Yeah, okay, Faith Ann. The name Faith is a good name. So, I mean,
yes.
that spans across. And you've got two boys. How are they liking being? No, I'm just kidding. Explain, for those people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about your family and your connection there.
Yes, so I have two boys and a girl. And going into fourth grade, second grade, and my daughter's going into first grade. And we're at Rummel Creek. And my husband, Scott, and I were born and raised in this area. We went to Stratford together, actually met at Memorial Middle School. And then started dating in Stratford, and we've been together ever since. So LSU alumni, and then we came back to Houston.
Awesome. And we share that high school sweetheart, well, like middle school sweetheart kind of experience, because that's where I met Leslie. And so it's pretty cool to still be in relationship with that person from high school. So
yes,
that's awesome. Scott's a fantastic guy and is holding down the fort, I think, inside with the 3 kids right now.
I don't know about holding down the fort. He's trying to work at the breakfast table, probably telling the kids to go find something to do. Is what he's doing.
Yeah, and you're in your car right now, so this is like a little escape moment for you.
Yes, right? I'm hiding in my car.
Hiding.
I actually left my house. I'm in a parking lot, far away.
Listen, the things, the sacrifices you take for Soul Care, I really appreciate it. You really are incredible. Okay, so why am I interviewing Brandi Monteverde? Like, not only are you an awesome person, but you have a unique piece of your story that I want to just kind of ask about. We've got really talented people at Memorial Drive, and especially those who worship at the Journey, like yourself and the whole Monteverde family. But you have a unique title as being a part of American Ninja Warrior, the television show and the athletic competition. Can you tell us, Brandi? And I went to the watch party over at the Refuge to see you there on national television when you competed in American Ninja Warrior. Can you tell us a little bit about, for people who have no idea what American Ninja Warrior is, can you tell us a little bit about that and what the process is?
Yeah, so it's a TV show, and it is an obstacle course show, and an extreme obstacle course. It's very, very hard. Most people don't finish. And so I just liked watching the TV show. And so Scott and I were watching the TV show years ago, and I had just had Faith Ann. And to back it up, actually, my mom passed away from pancreatic cancer about 14 years ago. And in her final months, we talked a lot about health and things like that. And she always wondered if things would have been different if she had taken better care of herself. Because as a mom, we get so busy, we don't, make time for ourselves.
Right.
And so she told me then, she said, Brandi, make me a promise that when you become a mom, because she died when I was just 21 years old.
Yeah.
So she said, when you become a mom, would you promise me that you'll make yourself a priority and be strong and healthy for your kids? And I said, sure. That sounded easy, like an easy promise. Well, fast forward to 3 kids later, I was sitting down, actually, Scott and I were eating, watching American Ninja Warrior. And I said, I think I could do that. And Scott was like, and like laughed at me. And I was like, I want to try. And so I did some research. I found the gym, Iron Sports, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go just try. I want to see. And at the time, I was not necessarily fit. I mean, I wasn't unfit, but running a mile was a stretch for me.
Yeah.
So I just went from not being able to run a mile straight to American Ninja Warrior gym, thinking that I could just do it, right? And so I go into the gym alone. I know nobody, and which is, daring in itself. And I say, I'm here to try the American Ninja Warrior courses. And they're like, okay. And I legit fell within the first 3 seconds on everything I touched. And it irritated me enough to want to do it. So I got home, and I remember telling Scott I could not do anything, but now that's my goal. And then my mom's promise kind of came into play, because then I started thinking, this is a way that I can be strong and fit and healthy for my kids, and it be fun for the family. It's not just me going to the gym and work out for myself. This is something that the family can experience with me. Wow. So that just kind of started my journey of me trying to be strong and fit for my family. And then my kids got into it. Scott got into it. I mean, not into actually doing the courses, but into supporting me and wanting me to keep going. And so, yeah, I started entering some competitions. I started getting to where I was finishing the obstacle courses. And then somewhere along the way, women started asking me, how do you do that course? How do you do that? How do you do this? And the owner of the gym said, well, you know what? Why don't you just teach a women's class? Because everyone wants to know how do you do these things? So then it manifested into me teaching. Wow. So I just feel like this whole journey just, it took its own path that all I wanted to do was just learn how to do an obstacle course. And now it has become a full lifestyle. But then the show came into where the producers reached out to me saying, okay, so you're doing good in some of these competitions. You're teaching women now. We want to hear your story. So I basically had to submit and apply for the show, and I made it. So there you go. That was it in a nutshell.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that your mom's promise has run through through everything, right?
Yes.
You've lived into that, and you've followed that. I know how dear your mom is to you, and it's just so cool to see that that's woven all throughout your entire journey, and kind of, and even in some of the, they do the pre-story stuff about you and your family. You got to kind of highlight that as well, which was so cool.
Yes, and I actually, while I was going through this whole journey, I was my dad's caretaker. My dad just recently passed away 2 years ago, but he was battling kidney failure. He had a kidney transplant years and years ago, and for like 16 years, it was doing good. But then, anyways, it started failing, and he was on dialysis, and I was his caretaker, and my family, we all pitched in to help take care of him, but I was kind of the meat and gravy of his caretaking. And my dad loved my American Ninja Warrior journey. He would always, when I would come over, he would say, show me something on your phone, he would say. And so I would always video myself at the gym doing obstacle courses because my kids wanted to see it. And so my kids and my dad. And my dad would watch him, and he was always in shock at how strong I was. And he was like, where the heck did that come from? And so he would always just tell me, keep up with that. That is so cool. You got to, keep being strong. Your mom would be so proud of you. So it was just kind of a different level of motivation too, to keep going.
Yeah. Oh, so then to have your dad there nearing the conclusion of his life, and just to be able to like show him, like, I'm living into mom's promise, right? And
I actually needed the strength to take care of my dad, because before, like I said, before I was, just kind of the everyday person who could not lift a 180-pound dead weight man, right? And so I got to where I really relied on my strength when I was taking care of my dad, and I was really thankful that I had that strength to help him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's, man, the number of connections.
Yes.
It's just, isn't that wild when you look back and you're like, how did God move in that way to be able to afford me the ability to do that? It's wild.
Yeah. Yes.
And I know faith is very important to you, and we'll talk faith and your daughter and your actual spiritual faith. We'll get to that in just a minute. I want to ask you, Are you seeing some parallels of American Ninja Warrior and like the perseverance you have to have connected to right now in COVID-19 quarantine sort of world? Like, what's that? What has American Ninja Warrior taught you about how to persevere during difficult times?
Well, I feel like the obvious is obstacles, right? So, the obstacles of American Ninja Warrior, when you look at them, you think, well, you think one of two things. You either think, oh, I can do this. And then you get on it and you're like, oh gosh, I can't do this. This is hard. Or you look at something and you think, oh gosh, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that obstacle. So it's like the fear either hits you in Ninja. The fear either hits you before you get on the course or while you're actually on the course. But at any point throughout the course, fear is going to hit you. And for me, my personality type, I don't usually have fear getting onto something. I usually get deep into it and then I'm like, uh-oh. So
Me too. Dude, me too. Oh my God. Uh-oh.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of the people that I train with, they would sit there and calculate the obstacle course and they would think, what are they going to do? How am I going to do this? Meanwhile, I just dive in and jump on the obstacle and then I get stuck on it, right? But I feel like that's kind of how I have seen people deal with this pandemic, is people are standing back and analyzing it and where am I going to go in this and where, kind of, or some people are just diving in saying, let's just figure this out. Let's just get the information. Let's just keep going. So, I don't know. I feel like the connection between the two is the perseverance of no matter what your plan is, your plan's not going to work. Right. Because no matter what my plan was when I got on that obstacle course, it never worked. Not once. And I feel the same way right now with the pandemic. I have plans for my kids. I have plans for, the fitness classes that I'm training, and I have plans for everything. And then there's another curveball and it doesn't work. So I feel like the flexibility of just being able to roll with keep getting knocked down, keep falling, and keep getting back up.
Wow. You want to preach on Sunday morning for me? I mean, good Lord. Oh man. Yeah. So many plans canceled, so many hopes and dreams just sort of like postponed, and there's a fatigue there, but what it shows is like you have to keep going.
Yep. And I remember the many times I fell in American Ninja Warrior. Falling is just part of it, And my kids were always on the sideline of the show. And I remember one time I fell earlier than I know I should have. And I fell, and the second I hit the water, my first instinct was anger. And I was like, because I knew I was stronger than that, And so it's the course is built up. So you kind of you can stand up without the crowd seeing you. You have to pull yourself out of the water before the crowd can see you. And so I got up before the crowd could see me. And I remember thinking, the first face expression I make when I pull myself out of the water is what my kids are going to see in moments of failure. So I remember just sitting there thinking like I was mad, And so, but I was like, I remember pulling myself out thinking my kids are not going to see anger in a moment of failure. Ooh. So, yeah. So I pushed myself up and I had a huge smile on my face and I reached down to hug them and they were so proud of me. And I remember thinking like, they're all smiles and they're so proud of me. Yeah. And to think that I was going to ruin their joy for my selfishness of anger, So I was really happy that I took that moment of self-control to choose joy. And so, yeah, I feel like I'm faced with that every day in the pandemic too, is, to choose that face of joy because your kids are watching. In my case, my kids are watching. And if I would have gotten out of that water angry and upset, then my kids would have not had that moment of, in their eyes, that was a victory. It was a victory that I was there. And I feel like we're also teaching that to our kids right now. We're teaching our kids that these are moments of victory. We're choosing joy right now. And we can't see tomorrow or next month, but we can choose what it feels like to fall right now.
Jeez Louise.
So that has been the connection for me. Yes. Woo. And I don't always choose joy. In times that I don't choose joy.
Thank you for saying that. Because I was like, oh my gosh, Brandi, I can't choose joy. How do you choose joy every day? But like, we have the choice, right? We do.
Yes, and I don't always choose joy. Sometimes when I fall, let's compare it to ninja. Sometimes when I fall in the water, everyone can see I'm mad, right? But it's just those little moments of choice, and I feel like that I can still see my kids' eyes when I pulled myself out of the water, and like they were so happy. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I was gonna steal that from them.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that now, like this is such prime years of their childhood, and I don't want to steal it from them because I'm obsessed with the news or because I'm cranky or because my plans got changed. Like I don't want to steal that joy from them.
Mm. There's so much to unpack from that. That's so good. And I love that you still remember your kids' faces and that you had the self-control to
Mm-hmm.
choose that in the moment. And that's sometimes the hardest thing. It's like, oh, if I could go back, I would have
Right.
jumped out of the water, the metaphor, the
Yeah.
metaphorical water. I would have like had a different face on, but yeah. And that takes control and strength, not just physical strength from climbing up and going through the obstacles. It takes inner strength, and I would call that soul strength, to be able to reflect in that way so quickly, to be able to respond the way you did. So,
Well,
man,
and actually, Scott was on the sideline with the kids,
yeah.
and when I fell, Scott knew I was going to be mad, and
Woo-hoo.
so on
Yeah.
the video of when you watch it happen, when I fell, you could see Scott bite his bottom lip, like, oh no, she's gonna be mad. And then when I came up smiling and hugging my kids and kissing my kids and all this stuff, he kind of started smiling. And then after it was all said and done, he was like, "You really he was like, I thought you were gonna be livid when you got out of the water," and I was like, "I was." And
Mm.
he was like, "Oh man, you acted," and I was like, "Yeah, I acted big time," but his like face also turned into joy. So
Yeah.
I feel like my one choice of joy impacted everyone. So I don't know, it's just kind of a little analogy. And even though here today in this world I don't always choose joy, my kids understand that it's a journey, and they understand that it's a choice. And so when I snap and sometimes say things I shouldn't say or act in ways I shouldn't act, I feel like I always am aware of it, and I always tell them, guys, mommy and daddy are worried and stressed, and they are too. We forget that they are too, even though they can't put it into words. They feel what we're feeling, and so I feel like if we open up the communication, I'm always telling them like, I'm angry right now,
Mm.
and I took it out on you, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And I hear them also saying that to each other now. I'll hear them say that to each other. Like, I'm just tired of being around you right now, and I shouldn't have done that kind of thing.
Yeah. Right.
So they're feeling the same way we are. Trust me.
Oof. Right. Yeah. Don't think they're, yeah. The minute you think kids aren't getting it is when you're
Yeah.
right. They get the emotions, right? And
Oh,
even
yeah.
even first graders to your oldest is a fifth grader, did you say?
Going into fourth grade.
Fourth grade, right?
Yeah.
It's they are well aware of what is
Oh,
going
yeah.
on, and so that's cool to share. Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that water story. That is like you can take so much from that image and peel it back and connect it to these days. So on top of you were teaching a little before you went on American Ninja Warrior, and now like again, as you said, this is a lifestyle. You teach and train people regularly.
Yes.
You've got a group that you lead called KTF. And I'll let you talk a little bit about that here. And just tell me, like, how is training people, and what have you seen from people that you have trained that fitness is helping them during this time of uncertainty and just never experienced before, sort of unparalleled. Like how is fitness connected to the soul is sort of my question.
Yeah.
Brandi, as a trainer.
Well, training from the big picture for me, training was never my plan. I never walked into that ninja gym thinking I'm going to be a trainer. That was never my plan. And Scott is always so surprised at my ability to live in the moment. That's kind of one of my natural strengths. And so as the path continued to open and turn, I just went along with the path. Even though the path never made sense, I just kept going, I don't know, Scott, it feels right. I'm just going to go. And then people asked me to start training them private sessions. And I said, well, it feels right. I'm going to do it. So I did the classes, of course, and I, got certified to know what I was doing. But I followed the journey. And as I followed the journey, I saw that there's such a bigger picture than what I could have ever planned for myself. And the women that I'm training at church, it's a class. We do a Bible study at the end, at the end of class, and we have found that there's such a connection between faith and fitness, because God tells us our body is the temple, right?
Right.
And part of your body being a temple is not to look good, but it's to feel good and to honor your body.
Yeah.
And part of honoring your body, I feel like, is the mind, body, and spirit. It's the connection of it all. And I have a direct connection for me. When I'm not working out, I feel less connected to God. And I don't understand what that means, but I feel like the better I take care of my body, the better I take care of my mind. For me, they're connected.
Wow.
And as soon as I kind of let myself go, then I kind of let my mind and my soul go too. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a checkpoint for me. Like if I'm on point with, getting my daily fitness in, then I'm also on point of getting my daily soul food in and my brain food in. So they are very connected to me. And I have found that all the women I train feel the same way. And I'm also a very honest trainer. I will be the one to say, I'm not feeling it today, but you know what? Let's do it. Let's push through it. And they'll be like, oh, thank God you said that, because I don't feel it either. But I'm like, some days you don't feel it. And that's when you rely on your mental strength. Your mental strength pushes through when your body doesn't feel it. And that's what fitness is. Fitness is like all of it. Sometimes your soul is the one that pushes you through. Sometimes it's your body. Sometimes it's your mind. But you can't be strong with just one of those things. They all three work together, because they all three compensate when the others are weak.
I wish we could navigate how to work through that, because I feel like anytime I work out, I never know which one of those is going to be off, but one of them is the struggle point for me. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you feel the same way. And there are times where all three are clicking for sure, but then the times when my mind is saying you cannot do this anymore, but my body's fine. I'm running or on the fitness bike or doing some sort of activity. I'm feeling fine, but my mind is saying, you can't do this. You're not feeling it today. Stop and go do something else. The moment you stop, you'll feel better. And so how do you do you have a check? I mean, what kind of checkpoints do you use, or is it one of those uncontrollable things that you just have to kind of choose to keep going forward, as you talked about choice a little earlier?
Yeah, well, back to Ninja. When you're on an obstacle course, your brain is telling you to quit because it hurts, right? And but oftentimes you're like, oh, but I only have 3 more bars to go, or 3 whatever, and so your brain is telling you to quit. But then there's also a part of your brain that's like, but you're almost there, keep going. And so I feel like I've translated that into my workouts, is when your brain is telling you to quit, you can also choose for the other part of your brain to say, yeah, but you're almost there, keep going. And so I always tell my clients, when I can tell when they're starting to get to that point that they want to quit, I always say, it's your brain telling you to quit. It's not your body. Your body is stronger than your brain.
Wow.
And there is a point where, obviously your brain knows to communicate it's time to stop. That's a different kind of.
Right.
But oh, I don't know that. I always tell my clients, I'm like, when you start feeling that, do 10 more, then you can stop.
Ooh. And I feel like our brains are saying, a lot right now, in just life, right?
Yeah.
And what you're saying is that's a different thing than emergency. That's one of those pieces where it's I'm fatigued. I could be doing something better, but we have to lean in.
Yeah. Well, that's when instincts also kick in too. I feel like your instincts know danger, right? And so your instincts know my heart rate's too high, or I'm too hot, or I need water. So that's a different part of your brain. I feel like that's speaking. It's the other part of your brain that, I don't know, the cognitive part of your brain that keeps telling you oh gosh, oh, she wants me to do it again. But I feel like that's how we all feel right now, is we all feel like, when we wake up, we all feel like it's that dreaded workout that we have to keep doing again and again and again, and we're not getting no results. And that's the most frustrating part. is I feel like, who wants to work out all the time and never get results? But
Right.
that's what our pandemic is like right now. I feel like we're all working out, but we're not getting any results. And that's what's so frustrating to everyone.
Another good metaphor from Brandi Monteverde. We're all working out and we're not seeing results.
Yes.
Gosh. But we got to keep working. And the
Yes.
minute we stop working out, it's going to go even deeper and further into like unrepairable. So
Yes.
man, I'm hearing that call from you, both in faith work and in physical work, to just keep pushing and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And choosing that is hard, but we can, and we can. It makes a difference when our mind's right.
Yes, it does. Well, and so many of my clients that I train will tell me, oh my gosh, the days that I train with you, I'm such a better wife. I'm such a better mom.
Wow.
And I feel the same way. So days that, I kind of unplug and don't, I feel like my patience is shorter. I feel like my tolerance is lower. But days that I can really exert myself in fitness, I feel like I am a much more balanced mom, wife, friend. My mind is clear. And when I say working out, I feel like some people think that I work out all day, every day. I kind of do, just because I'm a trainer, but
right.
Myself, what I advise for my clients, we only do 30-40 minute workouts.
Right.
So that's really all it takes to get those endorphins going, get your body going, get your muscles working, and get your mind clear. And right now, that's what my clients are craving the most, is they want their mind clear.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're getting their mind clear by physically working out.
Yes.
That there's got to be a connection there, right?
Oh, there is definitely there. I mean, I don't have the science behind it, but there is definitely a connection between mind, body, and spirit, for sure.
Good.
Yes.
All right, Brandi, we've come to the end. This has been awesome. So much good wisdom. Thank you for sharing it with me. Two things. Number one, we always end with this question, and it's sort of John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist Church, always asked his church members or pastors, he asked the question, how is it with your soul? And so I want to ask that. I've been asking that, all throughout the soul care to people. So full transparency, how is your soul? How are you doing during this time as a mom of 3 kids, moving into August school year, training all the time? You're doing some renovations on your house, which we talked about before we got on. Like, how are you? How's your soul? How is it? And that's different than that's a different question than like, how are you doing? Right? How's your soul kind of reaches into your faith and asks you, how you doing?
I feel like, okay, so like in a nutshell, I feel like chaos, the word chaos is the first word that came to my mind when you said that. So if I were to say one word, I would say chaos. But to back that up, I function, Scott thinks it is the strangest thing in the world, but I function really good in chaos.
Okay.
So I'm not one that needs everything, clean cut. So I feel like I'm almost thriving in the chaos.
Wow.
because I like to find the common thread in what makes the chaos feel calm, right? And every day there's a different thing that makes me feel calm. And I feel like some days it's God, some days it's praying, some days it's going outside, some days it's having a beer, right?
Right.
But I feel like every day is a little bit of chaos, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the chaos, and I'm okay with riding out the chaos.
Oh, geez. Do you read Brene Brown at all? You and Brene Brown, if she taught like a soul care class and then you did a fitness class together, you could buy 10 houses. What you're saying is so, oh my gosh, to like thrive within the chaos is what we have to, is something we have to learn to do. And people are, man, that's a great response. Thank you.
Well, and I think so many people are looking for the right answer in the chaos. And I think that's the beauty of chaos, is there is no right answer, right? So and that's hard for some people. I think especially in our area. I think in our area we have a lot of people that like to know black, white, what's correct, what's wrong, what's, and that's not this time. Things aren't black and white. There's a lot of gray. There's a lot of gray going on right now.
A lot of gray. And I would say, Brandi, Jesus did his best ministry in the gray.
Yes.
Right? And all the people around him wanted black and white answers, but Jesus is like, we got to live in this mess, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's so good, the connection there. Awesome. Okay, great answer. Thank you for that about your soul. The second thing I wanted to do was invite you to maybe, if you wanted to plug KTF, and can you just tell a little bit more about it and how people, if they are interested, or how women, especially since it's mainly a women's gathering, can get connected with you?
Yes. So pre-pandemic, it was Tuesday and Thursdays at church, 9:30 to 10:30. And it's for all levels. There's modifications as needed. But now in today's world, we are doing Tuesdays only, and we're doing outside of the church.
Okay.
So behind the church, where the school side is, there's that covered breezeway area.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So they're all spacing out there, and there's plenty of space. And I'm out in the parking lot in front of everybody, and so that we're just kind of winging it. So it's from 9 to 10 now, 9 to 10 o'clock. We do about 30-40 minute workout and about a 5-10 minute Bible study.
Great.
And again, making that connection between mind, body, and spirit. And I've had the same clients for years and years and years, and I continue to have new clients. So if you're new, or if you have come and then take a break and ready to come back, we're still here. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Friends, this has been Brandi Monteverde on Soul Care. Thank you so much, Brandi, for your time, and praying for you and your sweet family, and miss you, my friend. Take care. Have a great day.
Yes, miss you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out Soul Care. Join us again next week at noon on Friday. Have a great weekend. Bye.